With Batman, Spider-Man, Black Panther, and so many other heroes themed after animals, clearly we think of animals as having somewhat of superpowers. But sadly, not all animals are like that, and there's some weaker animals, and today we'll be taking a look at those weaker animals. First up are animals which are force bred en masse, their flesh sold, eaten, their miscarriages boiled by a more intelligent species. Of course, I'm talking about chickens. Scientific name Gallus domestica. How far the dinosaurs have fallen. Firstly, they can't see in the dark, which is a problem because if put out there in the world where there are predators that can see in the dark, they're free lunch. They can only fly for a distance of 10 meters. So imagine if the bird is on a ship that's sinking or a tsunami where most birds would be able to get airborne and fly to safety to a high structure. Chickens cannot. They'll fly up, get airborne for 3 seconds and fall into the water. They're in a bad place, man. And then, chickens are actually birds. Like, I think a lot of people think of them merely as food, but there's a lot of interesting chickens with interesting phenotypes, different colors and whatnot, like tropical birds. But people just see them as food. Otherwise, chickens are pretty weak and they make the list. They will not survive on their own in the wild against certain predators. Besides being filthy and having chlamydia, koalas are also not that strong and they eat their mother's diarrhea, so I'm not going to talk much about them. In the future, I might make a video about how disgusting koalas are, but not today. Silverfish can look kind of cool. I mean, they do look kind of cool, but they're also not that strong. They feed on starch, proteins, and carbohydrates. So, like dead skin cells. I mean, like they actually do legitimately eat dead skin cells. So, I guess they must thank you for that. Anyway, you may be wondering, without the look, they might have something up their sleeves. So, how do they defend themselves when facing a predator? Well, they have no stingers, they can't fly or bite, so they have to run fast. They run pretty fast, but I mean, when your defense system is running fast, you're finished. If they get in a situation where the predator ambushes them or it's faster than them, they get caught, it's pretty much over. Reference to Gumball, next up will be soft shell turtles. Now, there's nothing wrong with them per se, they have claws and they can bite pretty good. The only reason I put them here is because they have soft shells. So I feel like if they're put in an environment where they have bigger predators or something more to worry about, they would lose. I mean, what's the point of having a shell if it's soft? So they end up on this list. Next up are tarsiers. They weigh about 5 ounces or 160 grams, which for reference, a loaf of bread weighs 800 grams. Their eyeballs weigh more than their brain, so they see more than they think. But weighing less than a quarter loaf of bread is crazy though, which I imagine is not so good when faced with most predators. They also have been known to do self-deletion by smashing their heads against the tree or rocks, which can lead to death. I mean, obviously. They are cool though, but seems a bad matchup against any animal in any battle royale. They would end up losing, so they make the list. But it's crazy that they self-delete. Sloths are slow. Even if they had, let's say, a poisonous bite, I think most predators would be able to blitz them back to World War II. I think I saw somewhere that sloths grab their own arms, mistaking them for branches, and plummet to their death like Mother Gothel from Tangled. However, I did a bit of fact checking and it turns out no. They actually do check the branch they're about to hold on to. I mean, it makes sense, otherwise they'd probably be extinct if they did that. So, pretty cool, smart animals. In terms of strength, they're pretty weak, so they end up on the list. Apodiform birds are easy lunch to other predatory birds, insects, and snakes. This is because they're on the smaller side. Specifically, I'll be talking about hummingbirds, which is a word like the word eagle used to describe more a type than a species because it encompasses multiple species in a number of genera. Now, hummingbirds are in a bad place, man. They have many enemies. They do have good speed and some of the best aerial maneuvers of any flying animal, along with dragonflies. If I'm not mistaken, hummingbirds can fly backwards. While many hummingbirds do eat insects, like even the tiny bee hummingbird. However, in terms of defending themselves, they do not have much going for them, which means that they fall prey to even dragonflies. The giant Donner, for example, is a large dragonfly which was photographed eating a dead hummingbird. Now, some people say maybe it hunted it, some say it didn't, but let's assume it probably did, and if it did, that is horrible. You are a bird, you cannot be getting hunted down by insects. Then there's also other birds, predatory birds. Birds like the roadrunner were documented to hunt hummingbirds. The greater roadrunner specifically has been shown to hunt hummingbirds.
Then there are orb weave spiders, which cast nets of webs that catch their prey, including hummingbirds. So they get hunted by some insects and arachnids, which compared to most birds is pretty bad. I mean, most birds hunt insects and they get hunted by insects, so they end up on the list.
Star-nosed mole. I mean, the name is awesome. Star-nosed mole. With a prefix like that, you expect a lot from it. But they weigh about 50 grams, which for reference, a loaf of bread weighs 800 grams. I mean, it is cool. Its nose is really cool, and it's like a sensory system, which is unique and a whole interesting thing. But they are pretty small and you get bodied by any large animal in a battle royale, so that's why they're here.